My child, you can feel it, can't you? That silent pull beneath your skin, as if something ancient and unseen has been waiting for this moment. The ground beneath your life is shifting, not to break you, but to reveal you. Every hidden truth, every trembling silence is calling your name, because your awakening begins now. My child, you have felt it, the subtle trembling beneath what once seemed unshakable. The seasons you walked through were not mere accidents of fate. They were orchestrations, precisely timed so that what was hidden could no longer remain unseen. You remember how certainty began to dissolve, how things and people you trusted started to reveal unfamiliar faces. That shifting ground beneath your feet was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. For too long, you mistook comfort for peace and predictability for divine order. But there is a difference, my beloved. Comfort can conceal decay, while true peace exposes and then heals it. Each moment of uncertainty you faced was a divine message disguised as disruption. You wondered why familiar voices grew silent, why connections thinned, and why promises that once glittered like gold lost their shine. What you did not yet know was that heaven had begun to pull away every illusion that hindered your growth. It was not punishment. It was pruning. You had prayed for expansion, for clarity, for a higher path, but to rise, you first had to be unbound. Every false foundation had to be shaken, every hidden motive brought to light. You see, my child, I never allow confusion without purpose. When I permit the earth beneath you to tremble, it is because I am preparing to rebuild. When I strip away what seemed necessary, it is because I am revealing what is truly essential. That is why the people who once seemed irreplaceable drifted away. It wasn't betrayal, it was release. Had they stayed, you might have depended on them instead of me. The structures that began to crumble around you were never meant to sustain the future I designed for you. You were outgrowing them, even when you couldn't see it. There were nights when your heart questioned, why does everything feel like it's falling apart? But what was really happening was a falling into alignment, old patterns collapsing so new truth could take their place. You thought you were losing ground, but you were actually being placed on firmer soil. The shaking was an invitation to deeper faith, to a kind of trust that doesn't depend on visible stability. You see, what is real doesn't need to be forced. When I ordain something for you, it holds even when everything else shifts. So, when things began to move, when people began to change, when opportunities vanished without warning, it wasn't chaos. It was choreography. Every step, every silence, every sudden ending was written into your divine timeline. Do you remember how heavy those days felt? The conversations that never concluded, the doors that seemed to slam without explanation. Those were sacred closure signals that what served its purpose had completed its cycle. I allowed endings, not to punish you, but to protect you from unfinished illusions. For what you thought was stability was actually stagnation. Every hidden truth I revealed was a light meant to guide you forward. You could not carry falseness into your next season. You could not move toward purpose while holding what was never meant for your journey. And so, I began to peel back the layers, the masks others wore. And yes, even the ones you didn't realize you were wearing. It hurt, didn't it? Watching what once brought you comfort fade into uncertainty. Yet the pain you felt was not destruction. It was birth. Transformation is always disguised as loss at first. When I remove something, I never leave you with emptiness. I leave you with space sacred, expectant space waiting for something truer to emerge. In those quiet, lonely moments when you questioned my presence, I was closer than ever. When everything external grew silent, it was because I wanted you to finally hear my whisper, the voice that doesn't compete with noise, the guidance that comes not through explanation but revelation. So now, look again at those shifting seasons. See them for what they truly were, divine rearrangements. I was never undoing your life. I was unmasking it. You prayed for truth, and truth cannot enter where illusion still stands. I allowed storms to sweep through your certainty so that what remained would be authentic. What fell away was never yours. What stayed, even after the shaking, carries my mark. You are not a victim of loss. You are a witness to transformation. The fragments you thought were broken pieces are actually the beginnings of new design. For in the unseen, I was gathering everything together, molding the fragments of your confusion into a foundation strong enough for your destiny. Remember this: I do not reveal to humiliate. I reveal to heal. When motives were exposed, when paths closed, when the familiar grew distant, I was showing you where your trust truly belonged. And now, as you look back, can you see how it all connects? The conversations that fell silent taught you to listen for my voice. The plans that failed taught you that my timing cannot be rushed. The faces that disappeared taught you that loyalty is not measured by duration but by purpose. You have walked through unveiling and you survived. That is not coincidence, that is calling. For I never allow shaking without intention. I strip away to secure. I unsettle to strengthen. And even now, as you stand upon the remnants of what used to be, you are not standing on ruins, you are standing on revelation. This is what it means to walk with me, my child. To trust the unseen when the seen dissolves. To believe that the shaking is a sign, not of loss, but of alignment. To know that when the ground moves, it is only making space for something greater to be built. What is coming is not uncertain. It is divine, and it has been waiting for your readiness. So breathe deeply now. The tremors have not come to break you, but to bless you. Every foundation I shake, I rebuild stronger. Every truth I reveal, I illuminate with purpose. You are not where you were, and that is the proof of my hand upon your journey. The shifting ground was never punishment. It was preparation. You have not fallen apart. You have simply fallen into place. You stand now, my child, at a crossroads that is not marked by signs or maps, but by the whisper of the divine within you. It is no ordinary moment. You feel it in the stillness of your chest, in the way your spirit stirs even when you can't put words to it. You have walked through storms and seen what was once hidden come to light. Every tear, every unanswered question, every stretch of silence has brought you here to a place where destiny asks for your awareness. This is not chance. It is a divine appointment. You have been led to this intersection by unseen hands that never lost sight of you. Everything that has unfolded was preparation for this very point where your choice will either open the door to your next chapter or keep you wandering in the familiar fields of delay. The path diverges, not in the physical world, but in your heart. One road asks for control, the other asks for surrender. One offers comfort, the other offers purpose. The world around you might call it a small decision, but heaven sees it as alignment. What you decide now will echo beyond today. Your response will not just shape circumstances, it will shape the frequency of your spirit. This is why I speak to you now, my beloved. Not to burden you with urgency, but to awaken you to how sacred this moment truly is. When I bring you to intersections like this, I am not testing you. I am inviting you. The trials that preceded this moment were never designed to crush you. They were meant to refine you. I removed distractions so you could finally discern direction. I let certain things fall away so your focus would not be divided when I whispered your next step. And now, that whisper is here. Listen closely, because what I'm asking of you is not about magnitude, it's about alignment. Many seek grand signs, lightning bolts of clarity, supernatural proof before they move. But I speak through subtler things, the tug in your spirit, the peace that persists even when logic disagrees, the door that keeps opening no matter how impossible it seems. My voice is gentle, but its authority is absolute. You will not hear it in the thunder. You will feel it in your stillness. Do you remember the countless times you hesitated, waiting for perfect timing? You thought delay was wisdom. Sometimes it was, but often it was fear disguised as reason. The longer you waited, the louder the noise became, until you couldn't distinguish fear from discernment. That is why I quieted your world. The absence of noise is not loneliness, it is clarity, for I cannot guide what refuses to be still. And so, here you are, standing in sacred tension between what has been revealed and what is yet unseen. Your mind says you need more proof, but your spirit already knows. You can sense it, that gentle pull toward something beyond understanding. It is not recklessness, it is recognition. Your soul recognizes what your reason cannot yet justify. That's what faith is, my beloved. It's the willingness to step even when you can't see the entire staircase. This intersection before you is not random, it is exact. Every season before this was a setup, not a setback. The betrayals trained you to see truth. The losses taught you detachment. The silence trained your hearing. The confusion shaped your endurance. And now, every thread of your past is woven into the design of this moment. You were not wandering, you were being led here. Understand this clearly. Divine timing doesn't mean ease, it means precision. Everything is aligning, even when it appears chaotic. You may not feel fully ready, but readiness in my realm is not about feeling, it's about willingness. And willingness, my child, is the bridge between faith and manifestation. So, pause for a moment. Feel the gravity of where you are. This intersection hums with unseen purpose. In the spiritual dimension, your yes carries eternal weight. When you agree with the divine direction, unseen pathways illuminate. Doors that seemed sealed begin to yield. It is as if heaven waits on your consent, not because I need it to move, but because I will not force alignment. I invite it. Do not let fear distort what is sacred. The voices of doubt will whisper that you are not ready, that you need more signs, that perhaps the path will be clearer tomorrow. But tomorrow has never been the place of destiny's unveiling, only now. My timing is not meant to pressure you, it's meant to protect you. Delay too long, and what was designed for momentum becomes entangled in hesitation. You ask, how will I know this is the right choice? You will know it by peace, not the peace that feels soft and sentimental, but the peace that feels like a deep exhale after holding your breath for too long. The kind of peace that doesn't require understanding, only trust. I have not brought you this far to abandon you in confusion. Everything you need to move forward is already placed within you. You carry the answer you've been praying for. It's been growing inside you quietly, shaped by every moment of surrender, every prayer spoken in uncertainty, every step you took even when fear trembled beside you. You've been walking toward this intersection your entire life, and now the universe waits for your yes. The choice is not between good and bad, it is between stagnation and destiny. You can keep questioning the path, analyzing the risks, negotiating with divine will, but there comes a point when overthinking becomes disobedience. There comes a moment when faith must stop talking and start moving. My beloved, I have orchestrated this precise convergence for you. The signs, the timing, the restlessness in your heart, they are all confirmations that the hour has come. This is your moment of alignment. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for presence, not for proof, for participation. When you choose my direction, not merely in word but in action, the universe responds. What was delayed accelerates. What was closed begins to yield. What was hidden begins to shine. You do not need to see the entire path, only the next step. And that next step begins with one decision. Trust me. So stand tall, my child. Lift your gaze. The old road behind you is closing, and a new one is forming beneath your feet. It will appear only as you walk, but as you move forward, light will meet you. You will discover that what once felt like risk was actually revelation. The intersection you feared is the altar of your becoming, and when you choose to step, heaven will call it obedience, and earth will call it transformation. This is your divine intersection, and your answer whispered in courage and anchored in faith will open what has been waiting for you all along. My child, when truth begins to shine, it never arrives gently. It cuts through the fog, it pierces the layers you thought were safe, and it illuminates everything you once accepted without question. At first, it feels unsettling, because light doesn't just show you what is beautiful. It reveals what is broken. And yet, this revelation is mercy. You prayed for clarity, for understanding, for purpose, and now, clarity has come, though it does not always look like comfort. When I allow light to enter the hidden corners of your life, it is never to condemn you, but to free you. You see, truth has a strange power. It demands to be acknowledged. It will not rest quietly in the background of your awareness. It keeps knocking, keeps pressing, keeps illuminating, until you can no longer pretend you do not see. That is what's happening now. You are being invited to stop running from what I've been showing you and instead to stand in the brilliance of understanding. This light that surrounds you is not meant to blind you. It is meant to focus you. You are being shown what matters. You are being refined to see beyond appearances, to distinguish between what glitters and what is truly gold. For too long, you accepted the easy shine of imitation, relationships that looked kind but concealed envy, opportunities that appeared divine but demanded compromise, paths that seemed holy but pulled you away from your essence. When I send revelation, I do not do so in half measures. It is complete, though it may come in layers. Each unveiling teaches you discernment. Each new clarity pulls you closer to authenticity. Do not resist it, my beloved, for what you see now, though painful, is your liberation in disguise. You have started to notice patterns, repeated lessons wearing different faces. You meet people who mirror the same energy, find yourself in situations that replay the same emotional rhythm. That is no accident. It is the rhythm of divine teaching. When you do not yet learn from one revelation, I allow the theme to reappear, not to punish you, but to help you recognize it. Because I love you too much to let you remain blind to what is slowly eroding your spirit. When you ask, why do I keep facing the same kind of betrayal, the same kind of disappointment? I say gently, it is because I am trying to help you see. You are meant to master this pattern, not relive it forever. And to master it, you must allow my light to enter the very places you've kept hidden even from yourself. The parts that whisper, I am not enough. I must prove my worth. I must be what others expect. Those are not your truths, my child. They are illusions born from wounds. I cannot bless what is false, not because I am cruel, but because falsehood cannot sustain divine favor. When I reveal the truth, I am not shaming you. I am returning you to your true self, the one unburdened by pretense, radiant in honesty, grounded in grace. There is a difference between shame and revelation. Shame says, look what you've done. Revelation says, now you can see what was hidden and choose differently. Shame imprisons, revelation empowers. That is why this season may feel both heavy and holy. You are standing between what you used to believe and what you are being shown now. Do not rush this illumination. Let it work through you. Let it cleanse. Light exposes not only deceit around you, but the small untruths within. The moments when you said yes, while your heart screamed no. When you smiled out of obligation. When you stayed silent to preserve peace that was already broken. This is where truth begins its real work, in the private spaces of your integrity. Each moment of revelation brings a chance to align closer with authenticity. Every time you honor what you know to be real, you create a stronger foundation for the future I am building in you. The world may not always reward truth-telling, but heaven always does. For truth is my language, and when you speak it, you harmonize with me. Do not mistake exposure for loss. When I expose something false, I am removing what blocks your blessing. When you see someone's hidden motive, it may hurt, but that awareness is protection. When you discover your own misplaced loyalties, it may sting, but that understanding is liberation. Every truth uncovered is a weight removed. Every illusion revealed is a doorway opened. Remember, beloved, darkness has no power of its own. It only exists where light has not yet entered. The moment you acknowledge truth, you break that power. You weaken the hold of deception simply by refusing to agree with it anymore. That is why awareness is sacred. It is spiritual warfare fought through recognition. This is what I mean when I say you are awakening. You are learning to see beyond surface, to feel energy instead of words, to discern intention beneath appearance. You are stepping into spiritual maturity, the ability to perceive truth without bitterness, to forgive without returning to blindness, to release without resentment. As you continue to let light in, you will notice something miraculous. Peace will begin to replace confusion. You will no longer chase answers from others, because you will feel my confirmation within. Decisions that once felt impossible will become simple. You will just know, not because you figured it out logically, but because truth and peace always walk hand in hand. Do not be afraid if people misinterpret your clarity. Some will call it distance, others will call it pride, but I call it discernment. You are not colder, you are clearer. You are not detached, you are aligned. Those who can meet you in truth will remain. Those who cannot will quietly fall away. Let them. They were never meant to stand in the brilliance that surrounds you now. You are becoming light yourself, my child. You have carried darkness long enough, its weight of confusion, its fog of dependency, its shadows of fear. But every time you choose truth over comfort, light over illusion, awareness over ignorance, you reclaim another piece of your soul. Do not shrink from this brightness. The more you embrace it, the freer you become. What was once concealed cannot harm you once it is illuminated. And when you stand in truth, no deception can stand against you. For I am truth, and I dwell in you. Now lift your eyes. The light that once felt blinding now feels warm. It guides you, it steadies you, it shows the path ahead. This is revelation, not punishment, not loss, but rebirth. You are stepping out of shadow into clarity. You are remembering who you were before the world taught you to hide. You are not breaking apart, you are breaking open. And the light, my beloved, has only just begun to shine. My child, as light deepens its reach, it begins to expose not only deception but dependence. Those soft, familiar places where you once found comfort, yet which quietly held you captive. You thought they were safe. They felt warm, predictable, even necessary. But beneath their surface lived something fragile, something built not upon truth, but upon convenience. And now, the divine illumination you have welcomed has come to uncover them all. You have seen it happening. Relationships that once defined you have begun to fade into distance. Opportunities that seemed so promising have quietly closed their doors. Patterns you once relied on to feel secure have started to lose their hold. This is not abandonment. It is unveiling. I am removing what you leaned upon, so you may stand upon what is eternal. Understand this clearly, beloved. Comfort is not always blessing. Sometimes it is a cushion that dulls your discernment. A soft distraction that keeps you from noticing the subtle ways you are drifting away from your higher calling. What feels soothing to the flesh can suffocate the spirit. That is why I must sometimes disturb your peace to restore your power. The peace I give is not born from stagnation. It is born from alignment. There were seasons when certain people were placed beside you for a purpose. They carried lessons, reflections, and support that were right for that moment. But not every companion is meant for every journey. Some were chapters, not the entire story. You prayed they would stay, yet I allowed their exit, not because they failed you, but because they completed their assignment. If they had remained, you would have stayed where you were, rather than where you are going. Do not mourn those whose paths diverged from yours. Release them with gratitude. What you call separation, heaven calls graduation. And if you look closely, you will see that every loss made space for something new. New wisdom, new strength, new clarity. Each departure was a divine transaction. You released what was temporal to receive what was timeless. There were also desires you pursued, dreams that shimmered with promise, but they concealed hidden demands. You mistook ambition for purpose, thinking the more you achieved, the closer you would be to fulfillment. Yet, when the applause faded, a strange emptiness remained. That emptiness was not failure. It was truth's echo, calling you to remember who you truly are. You are not defined by your success, nor diminished by your setbacks. You are defined by your alignment with me. The world teaches you to chase what sparkles. My spirit teaches you to seek what sustains. When I close a door, it is not rejection, it is redirection. When something you hoped for dissolves before your eyes, it is not cruelty, it is compassion. I do not remove to deprive, I remove to protect. Had you gained what you desired prematurely, it might have imprisoned you. Think back, my beloved, to those moments that once felt like heartbreak, the friendship that fractured, the plan that failed, the opportunity that vanished. You grieved, thinking life had taken something precious, but time has revealed it differently, hasn't it? You now see the betrayal as deliverance. You see that the silence you despised became the soil where your discernment grew. You see that every door that closed was a divine hand saying, "Not here, not yet, not this way." This is how revelation works. It strips you bare, not to leave you empty, but to leave you authentic. It asks you to release the imitation so it can replace it with the original. You once mistook comfort for connection, but true connection doesn't depend on circumstances or flattery. It endures through truth. Those who are meant for your destiny will not fear your light. They will rise within it. Do not chase those who recoil from your awakening. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. The same light that reveals truth to you also exposes avoidance in others. Some will retreat not because you wronged them, but because your growth reminds them of what they are avoiding within themselves. Love them still, but let them go. You are not meant to dim to keep anyone comfortable. There will come a point when the familiar no longer feels right, when what once soothed you now suffocates you. That discomfort is your soul's way of saying, "We cannot stay here." Listen to it. Your spirit knows the rhythm of its own becoming. Every uneasy stirring is not a warning of danger. It is a signal of destiny. I am pulling you out of patterns that have expired. And yet, I know this process can feel lonely. To watch the circle around you shrink, to see your reliance on others dissolve, to stand without the scaffolding you once clung to, it tests your faith. You may even cry out, "Why does everything I lean on keep disappearing?" Because, my child, I am teaching you to lean on what never moves. The more you depend on what is temporary, the more fragile your peace becomes. The more you trust what is eternal, the more unshakable your foundation grows. You are being called to rebuild your confidence, not on validation, not on outcomes, but on presence. My presence within you. For when all false comforts fade, what remains is unbreakable connection. You and I, uninterrupted, unmediated, unmasked. This is the relationship I have been leading you toward. The sacred intimacy where you no longer need external proof of my care. You just know. When you reach that point, loss no longer terrifies you. You stop begging for permanence in what was meant to be passing. You stop mistaking endings for failure. You begin to understand that every shedding is sacred. You become grateful for what leaves because you recognize that only what is real can remain. This is the unveiling of false comforts, the holy stripping that precedes divine strength. When you release what cannot go where you are headed, you create space for the authentic to enter. And once truth becomes your refuge, you will never again need illusion to feel secure. Let the false fall away, my beloved. Let the temporary return to dust. What remains will be unshakable. You will stand, not upon the soft pillows of approval, but upon the solid ground of revelation. You will no longer chase warmth from fading sources, for you will have found the flame within. And when that moment arrives, you will look back on everything you thought you lost and whisper with certainty, "I was never losing. I was being refined." The pain was not punishment. It was purification. The silence was not absence. It was instruction. The loss was not subtraction. It was sanctification. Now, walk forward, no longer holding on to what is gone. The hands that once reached for comfort will now carry purpose. The heart that once feared change will now welcome revelation. For what you have released was never meant to define you. It was meant to deliver you. My child, you have walked through fire, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that defines. You have watched the layers of your old identity peel away, felt the sting of loss, and seen the illusions dissolve in the light. And though your heart has often asked, why must the road be so hard? Why must the lessons burn so deep? The answer lies within the sacred mystery of refinement. You are not being punished. You are being purified. You are not losing. You are being shaped. Purpose, my beloved, is not born in ease. It is born in friction, in those moments when you choose truth over comfort, obedience over convenience, surrender over control. The flame of your purpose cannot be kindled by applause or success. It is kindled in the secret places, where no one sees your tears but me. It is there that I mold your strength, temper your patience, and awaken your discernment. You may not realize it, but every hardship you endured has been holy ground. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every delay has been a forge. Each time you thought you were breaking, you were actually becoming. The cracks that formed in your certainty were openings for wisdom. The heaviness that made you slow down was a divine invitation to listen deeper. What you saw as endings were initiations into greater awareness. Think of gold, my child. It does not shimmer until it passes through fire, and the fire is never there to destroy. It is there to reveal. It melts away what cannot endure, so that only what is pure remains. That is what I have been doing within you. I have been removing the excess, the fear, the pretense, the dependence, so that your purpose can stand unshakable in the open light. You once thought purpose meant achievement, a visible impact, a measurable result. But now you are learning that purpose is not a destination, it is a becoming. It is the quiet strength to keep walking even when the path makes no sense. It is the courage to speak truth even when your voice trembles. It is the grace to forgive even when it feels impossible. Purpose does not announce itself with trumpets. It is revealed in the way you handle the unseen moments, in how you choose love over bitterness, patience over frustration, faith over fear. These small, hidden choices are not insignificant. They are the chisels shaping your destiny. And yes, it hurts sometimes. Refinement always does. For to refine is to remove, and removal feels like loss until you understand its necessity. I remove your reliance on approval so that you can finally walk in authenticity. I remove false security so that your peace depends only on truth. I remove the noise of distraction so that you can hear the still, steady voice within. Do you remember the times when you felt abandoned, when silence echoed louder than prayer? That silence was not absence, it was transformation. In that stillness, I was teaching you how to recognize my voice without the aid of external signs. I was turning you from seeker to knower, from follower to vessel. For the ones I choose to carry deep purpose, I must first teach them to stand alone with me. You are being refined not to fit into the world, but to transform it. The patterns that once worked for others will not work for you. The shortcuts that seem tempting will only weaken your foundation. You cannot imitate the light of another when your own flame is meant to burn differently. You were not created for conformity. You were chosen for calling. This is why your journey feels unique, even isolating. The higher the purpose, the narrower the path. Many begin the journey, but few allow the refining to complete its work. Some turn back at the first sign of discomfort, others settle halfway, content with surface success. But you, my beloved, have chosen to keep walking. You have allowed the fire to continue its holy work, and though the heat has been fierce, it has also been faithful. Look at what has emerged in you: resilience, clarity, compassion. You no longer need validation to know your worth. You no longer confuse motion with progress. You no longer beg for answers. You wait for revelation. That patience, that strength, that quiet understanding, these are the jewels formed in the fire. You could not have received them any other way. When I refine you, I am also preparing the vessel for what it must carry. The greater the purpose, the deeper the preparation. You can't pour sacred oil into a cracked jar. I have been sealing your fractures, smoothing your rough edges, teaching you endurance so that when the time comes you will not break under the weight of your own calling. Even now, you may not see the full picture, but trust that nothing has been wasted. Every delay has trained your faith. Every wound has widened your compassion. Every struggle has strengthened your spirit. The pieces you thought were meaningless are part of a masterpiece still being assembled. My beloved, do not despise the fire. It is your friend, not your foe. It will not consume what is true. It will only consume what is false. You will not come out burned, you will come out brilliant. You will rise not weaker but wiser. You will walk not in fear, but in authority. This refinement is not endless. There will come a day soon when you will look around and realize the flame has subsided. The pressure will ease, and you will see what has been birthed within you, a faith that no storm can shake, a peace that no loss can steal, a love that no darkness can dim. That is when you will understand. The fire was not your enemy, it was your anointing. So now, take a deep breath. You are not lost in the process, you are found in it. Every ember has meaning. Every spark has purpose. The refining is not punishment, it is preparation. And when it is complete, you will carry not only wisdom, but weight, the divine authority that comes only through endurance. The world will see your strength, but only you will know the cost. They will see the light, you will remember the flame. And in that remembering, you will know with unshakable certainty that everything you faced was necessary, everything you lost was mercy, and everything you became was love. You are not who you were before the fire, and that is the point. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. My child, all the revelation, all the refining, all the shaking has led to the single sacred place, the moment of surrender. This is not the surrender of defeat, not the giving up that comes from exhaustion, but the holy yielding that opens heaven. You have fought hard, tried to understand, tried to hold everything together with your own strength, but now you begin to realize you were never meant to carry it all. You were meant to release it. You were meant to whisper 2 words that change everything. I will. Those words, though small, hold the weight of creation. Every new beginning in history, every transformation of soul, every doorway to destiny has opened through that simple phrase. It is not the eloquence of your prayer that moves the divine. It is the purity of your will. When you say I will, heaven leans in. When you mean it from the depth of your spirit, the unseen realms rearrange themselves in response. Think of those who came before you, those who heard the call and answered not with certainty but with willingness. They did not have full understanding. They only had faith, and that faith was enough. You stand in their lineage now, the long line of souls who said yes when logic screamed no. They built altars with their obedience, not with their resources. They changed worlds, not because they were mighty, but because they were willing. This is the sacred pattern, my beloved. Revelation prepares you, refining strengthens you, but surrender releases you. Until you yield, you remain bound by invisible cords the need to control, the fear of failure, the attachment to what once felt safe. But the moment you say I will, those cords fall away. You are not just agreeing to a new path, you are agreeing to be remade by it. The mind will resist this. It will argue that surrender is weakness, that saying yes without knowing all the details is foolish. But your spirit knows the truth. It remembers the sound of my voice from before you were born. It recognizes divine alignment when it appears. Surrender does not rob you of freedom. It returns you to it. It restores what control had distorted. Every fear you hold is rooted in the illusion that you are alone. But when you surrender, you realize you never were. My presence has surrounded you all along, waiting for your willingness to invite it fully in. This is the paradox of the sacred. The more you yield, the more powerful you become. For true authority is born from alignment, not resistance. The moment you whisper "I will," chains that have held for years begin to break. Cycles that seemed endless begin to close. The unseen heaviness that has lingered on your shoulders begins to lift. And it is not because everything around you changes instantly, it's because something within you shifts completely. You stop fighting against what is meant for you. You stop running from your own becoming. You may wonder, is it really that simple? Yes, my child, it is. The divine never complicates what the heart already understands. Simplicity is the mark of truth. I do not require grand rituals or perfect behavior, only a willing heart. The moment your will aligns with mine, transformation begins. The soil of your life, long hardened by fear and striving, softens enough for seeds to take root. Say it softly now, even if your voice trembles. I will. Feel how those words echo in your chest, how peace begins to rise where anxiety used to dwell. You are not losing control. You are exchanging it for guidance. You are not giving up your dreams. You are entrusting them to the one who knows how to fulfill them. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into orchestration. This surrender is not about passivity. It is about participation. You become an active co-creator with the divine. Your "I will" does not erase your effort, it sanctifies it. You still move, still build, still dream, but now you do so with grace instead of grind, with flow instead of force. Your actions stop being anxious reactions and become sacred expressions. There will be resistance at first. The mind will still crave control. The ego will whisper that surrender means losing identity. But the truth is the opposite. In surrender, you find your truest self. The identity that fear constructed begins to dissolve, and what remains is essence, the part of you untouched by failure, untouched by time, untouched by others' opinions. You will notice, after surrender, a quiet shift. You no longer chase clarity, it finds you. You no longer beg for signs, they appear effortlessly. You no longer strain for approval, you rest in alignment. Even obstacles begin to lose their power because you see them differently now, not as punishments, but as permissions, invitations to deepen trust. When you say "I will," it is as if heaven writes those words into your future. Every door that once refused to open begins to respond. Every delay begins to make sense. Every unanswered prayer begins to reveal its reason. What once seemed random becomes precise. What once felt heavy becomes holy. But understand this. Surrender is not a one-time act. It is a way of being. Each morning you wake up and whisper "I will" again. Each decision, each crossroad, each moment of hesitation becomes an altar. The more you practice it, the more you live in flow. And soon, obedience will no longer feel like effort, it will feel like rhythm. And as you walk in that rhythm, peace will settle over you like a mantle. Not the fleeting calm the world offers, but the deep, anchoring peace that comes when your spirit no longer argues with its purpose. This is what you've been seeking all along. Not control, not certainty, but communion, the steady awareness that you and the divine are moving together, breathing together, creating together. You are entering a new era, my child, one where striving ceases and sacred ease begins. You will still face challenges, yes, but they will no longer shake you. For once the heart surrenders, storms lose their power. You will walk through chaos and remain calm, because you will know you are not at the mercy of the wind. You are aligned with the one who commands it. So here you stand, not at the end of your strength, but at the beginning of your sovereignty. This surrender is not the conclusion of your story. It is the prelude to everything I've prepared for you. Say it once more, and let it echo through the unseen realms. I will. And as those words leave your lips, the universe shifts. Not because you forced it, but because you finally agreed with what was written for you all along. This is the sacred surrender, the doorway between striving and becoming, between trying and trusting, between self and soul. And now that you have stepped through it, nothing will ever be the same again. My child, after surrender comes silence, yet not the silence of peace alone, but the silence before awakening. It is the hush that follows a great declaration, the still moment before the spiritual world begins to move. You have spoken your "I will," and heaven has heard it. But now you must understand why the air feels heavier, why resistance seems to rise just as you finally began to rest. For surrender is never the end of the battle. It is the beginning of authority. There are forces, unseen yet real, that tremble when a soul becomes aware of its purpose. They do not wage war against the indifferent, the distracted, or the complacent. They focus their fury on the awakened, the ones who have chosen light, who have refused the comfort of illusion, who have spoken yes in the face of fear. The pressure you feel now is not punishment. It is proof that what is within you is powerful enough to disturb darkness itself. Do not be afraid of this tension, my beloved. It is the shaking that happens when two realms collide, the visible and the invisible, the temporal and the eternal. The moment your spirit aligns with the divine will, the forces that once thrived on your confusion lose their grip. They will whisper still, trying to plant seeds of doubt. You imagined it. You're unworthy, you're not ready, but you will recognize those lies now for what they are, the final echoes of a kingdom that has already fallen. The enemy does not fight battles he cannot lose. He fights to delay the inevitable victory that is already yours. Every fear that rises is a shadow of what no longer has power over you. Every obstacle is a trembling before your advance. You are not merely enduring resistance, you are exposing it. Understand this. The war is not outside you, it is within. It plays out in the quiet corners of your mind, in the small moments of choice, when weariness tempts you to give up, when doubt invites you to retreat. But every time you choose faith instead of fear, love instead of resentment, patience instead of anger, you win another battle. Heaven does not measure victory by what you conquer outwardly, but by what you overcome inwardly. When discouragement comes, and it will, remember that darkness cannot exist where awareness dwells. The very fact that you see the battle means you are above it. The unawakened are controlled by what they cannot perceive. The awakened conquer by what they refuse to believe. You are learning this now. The difference between reaction and authority. Reaction is rooted in fear. Authority moves from rest. There will be moments when the weight feels unbearable, when you question your progress, when the voice of uncertainty grows loud. That is when I whisper, remember who you are. You are not a beggar pleading for scraps of favor. You are a vessel of divine intention. You do not fight alone. Every step you take in faith summons unseen help. Angels move at your obedience. The atmosphere bends toward your alignment. You are learning that power is not always loud. Sometimes it is found in quiet endurance, in choosing peace when chaos surrounds you, in showing mercy when it's undeserved. These are not passive acts, they are declarations in the spirit realm. Each time you forgive, you disarm bitterness. Each time you stand still in faith, you confuse your enemy. Each time you speak life instead of fear, you shift the balance of unseen power. The war you feel is not chaos, it is calibration. As light expands within you, everything that is not aligned must adjust. Old thought patterns will surface for release. Memories you thought forgotten may return, not to haunt you but to be healed. This is part of the cleansing. Do not resist it. Healing always stirs the wound before it seals it. You may find that people react differently to you now. Some will be drawn closer, sensing the peace that radiates from your surrender. Others will pull away, unsettled by the power that now surrounds you. Let them. Do not chase what leaves. This new frequency cannot accommodate everything from your past. Some bonds were sustained by pain. Once healed, they have no more foundation. That is not cruelty, it is alignment. And when the loneliness feels sharp, remember, solitude is not absence, it is preparation. The silence that surrounds you now is sacred. It is the sound of heaven rearranging itself on your behalf. You are not being isolated. You are being insulated. I am protecting the seed that has just been planted within you. There will come nights when the battle intensifies, when shadows seem to rise higher and hope flickers faintly. In those moments, do not beg for deliverance. Declare dominion. Speak from your authority, not your anxiety. You are not waiting for power to descend upon you. It already resides within you. The same energy that sustains galaxies moves through your veins. The same breath that spoke worlds into being whispers in your spirit now. Stand firm. You are not losing, you are learning. And soon, you will see what I have seen all along, that the battle was never to destroy you, but to reveal you. Pressure exposes potential. Resistance reveals strength. The more the opposition rose, the more you discovered the depth of your resilience. You began to see that what once terrified you no longer controls you. The shadows that used to silence you now flee from your presence. You have walked through fire and found faith. You have met fear and found courage. You have faced silence and found voice. This is transformation. Not because the world around you has changed, but because you have. You no longer react to life. You respond through revelation. You no longer chase proof. You carry peace. This battle, though fierce, is also holy. It is the proving ground of your purpose. You are not being tested to expose your weakness. You are being refined to demonstrate your strength. The struggle is not evidence of divine absence. It is the sound of heaven forging a warrior in the unseen. So do not shrink back now. Stand in what you know, even when you cannot see. When doubt rises, declare truth. When fear whispers, answer with faith. You have already overcome more than you realize. Every breath you take in trust is a victory. Every act of love in adversity is a triumph. The battle beneath the surface may continue for a while, but soon clarity will emerge like dawn after the longest night. And you will understand that the struggle was never against darkness itself. It was for the revelation of your own light. You are no longer merely surviving. You are standing as one who knows. The war was necessary so that peace could become your power. My child, the battle may have been fierce, but you are still here not only standing, but stronger than you have ever been. You have learned to trust the unseen, to recognize truth beneath appearances, to stay still when fear would have driven you to flee. Now, the divine purpose behind it all begins to unfold. For every revelation, every surrender, every victory of faith has led to this, the moment of covenant. This is where decision turns into devotion, and devotion becomes demonstration. You see, faith is not a thought, it is a covenant. It is a binding alignment between your spirit and mine, an invisible signature that says, I choose this path, not only in words, but in action. Many hear the call and agree in silence. Few make it known. But you, my beloved, have been brought to this threshold so that your agreement may echo in both realms. You have walked long enough in contemplation. Now I ask you to act, for a promise unexpressed is a seed unplanted. It carries potential but bears no fruit. The unseen responds to movement, to the gesture of trust, to the step of obedience, to the physical manifestation of what your heart already believes. This is why every divine covenant in history carried a visible act. The gesture was never about performance. It was about partnership. I do not need offerings made of wealth or grand sacrifice. What I desire is a living demonstration of trust, a tangible yes, that translates the unseen faith within you into seen reality. The act itself may be small, a word, a step, a giving, a reaching out, but its spiritual weight is immeasurable. It is the bridge between believing and becoming. You may feel that your faith should be private, that it belongs in silence, but understand this secrecy feeds fear. Expression fortifies conviction. When you speak, when you act, when you declare your alignment openly, you are not performing, you are anchoring. You are telling every power, every shadow, every lingering doubt, I am no longer available for anything that contradicts my purpose. Consider, my child, how I have been weaving this moment since the beginning. Every unveiling stripped away illusion. Every trial strengthened your discernment. Every season of waiting deepened your resolve. You are no longer unsure. What once wavered now stands still within you. This is why the invitation comes now, because you are ready. And when I say ready, I do not mean perfect. Readiness is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move despite it. The one who waits for perfect clarity will never act, for faith always requires a step into the unknown. Readiness means you trust that even if you falter, I will catch you. Even if you stumble, I will steady you. Even if you don't see the whole path, I will illuminate it one step at a time. This covenant is not for me alone. It is for you. It seals something within your spirit that doubt cannot undo. It is the moment when faith matures not as an idea, but as identity. You are not hoping to become who I said you are. You are that person now. You are not trying to fulfill your calling. You are already walking in it by choosing to respond. Think of your yes as a divine key. It unlocks rooms you didn't know existed, rooms of opportunity, wisdom, connection, and strength. These doors were never locked against you. They simply required your conscious agreement to open. Once you say, I am ready, the frequency of your entire being shifts. The right people begin to appear. The right timing unfolds naturally. Even obstacles rearrange themselves into pathways. But I will not force this on you. Love never coerces, it invites. That is why I speak softly, not shouting commands, but whispering invitations. The universe itself is leaning forward, waiting for your response. The energy of heaven responds not to need, but to willingness. Your faith is not measured by how much you know, but by how much you trust enough to act upon. So, my beloved, what is your act of covenant? For some, it will be spoken words, a declaration of alignment, whispered aloud. For others, it will be a gesture of generosity, a giving, a letting go, a sharing that affirms abundance. For some, it will be a symbolic act, writing, creating, stepping into a new space. It matters not the form. What matters is the sincerity of its source. Do not mistake this invitation for a demand. It is not about earning my favor, you already have it. It is about entering into the rhythm of reciprocity. I have poured into you, revealed truth to you, refined and strengthened you. Now I invite you to pour back, to let what I've given flow outward through your hands, your voice, your presence. That flow keeps grace alive. That movement keeps light expanding. When you act upon revelation, it multiplies. What was once fragile becomes firm. What was once faint becomes flame. This is why I call this moment a covenant, because what you affirm here becomes the foundation of what comes next. You will feel the shift when you do it. A calm certainty will settle in your chest, like the closing of a circle. You will no longer question whether you are chosen. You will know. You will no longer wonder if you are ready. You will feel it in your bones. You will sense that something invisible has sealed within you. An inner vow that says, I am aligned now. I am no longer resisting what is divine in me. This covenant of response will mark you. It will go with you into every conversation, every decision, every doorway. And when challenges arise, you will remember this moment and draw strength from it. For you will know that the divine within you is not passive. It is participatory. You are no longer waiting for miracles. You are walking in them. So pause now, my child. Feel this invitation not as pressure, but as privilege. You are being invited into partnership with eternity. What was once uncertain now becomes sacred commitment. Speak it softly, act upon it boldly. I am ready. I will respond. I am aligned. And as you do, all creation bears witness. Heaven records your yes. The earth recognizes your authority. The unseen rearranges itself to accommodate your destiny. This is the moment where your faith leaves theory and becomes embodiment. Your covenant is complete when you act, not when you understand, not when you feel certain, but when you move. And once you move, my child, you will find that I have already prepared the ground beneath your feet. You will see that every unseen force that once opposed you was only waiting to yield to the power of your yes. You are stepping into living covenant now, not one written on paper or carved in stone, but one engraved upon your spirit. It cannot be broken, for it is not bound by condition but by connection. And as you walk forward, this truth will follow you everywhere. What you have agreed to in faith, heaven will manifest in form. My child, the moment you said I will, something irreversible shifted. Heaven did not need to see grandeur, it only needed to witness willingness. The act was simple, but the effect eternal. In that instant, a covenant older than time itself became active within you, a promise that what I began in you will never be undone. You may not see it with your eyes, but eternity felt the vibration of your yes. The air itself recognized the sound. The unseen realms knew. The appointed one has agreed. Now, understand this. Assurance is not the absence of trial, nor the promise of ease. It is the quiet confidence that, no matter how loud the storm, you cannot be lost. For I have placed my mark within you, and that mark is permanent. It does not fade when you falter, nor vanish when you doubt. You are written into the divine pattern, not penciled in, but engraved. You are not a temporary thought in my design. You are an eternal intention. The striving that once drove you has no authority now. You no longer chase what is already yours. You no longer beg for what is freely given. You no longer seek proof that you are chosen, because the very breath in your lungs is the evidence. You were chosen long before you asked, long before you prayed, long before you even knew my name. And here lies the deepest mystery, that your purpose is not something you achieve. It is something you embody. It does not come through effort, but through alignment. You do not earn favor. You awaken to it. You do not acquire light. You uncover it. The divine spark you've been searching for has always been within you, and every unveiling, every surrender, every act of obedience was simply removing what covered it. This is the eternal assurance. Nothing that is truly yours can be lost, and nothing that is not meant for you can remain. You will see things come and go, people, seasons, opportunities, but through it all, you will begin to notice something steady, something unchanging beneath the movement. That stillness is my presence, and that presence is your home. You no longer need to fear mistakes, for even your missteps are folded into my mercy. When you stray, I rewrote. When you falter, I uphold. When you weep, I collect the tears as seeds for your next harvest. My plans are not fragile, my child. They do not crumble because of your weakness. They flourish through it. I knew your limitations when I chose you, and I factored them into your destiny. This is why shame can no longer dwell in you. It has no legal right in a heart sealed by grace. You are not defined by the moments when you failed. You are defined by the love that never stopped calling you back. Even now, I am redeeming what you thought was wasted. The years you mourned as lost will return, multiplied in wisdom. The wounds you feared would scar forever will shine as signs of survival. You are learning that peace is not an emotion to chase, but a position to stand in. It is the awareness that even when chaos surrounds you, you are anchored in something unshakable. The waves may crash, but the ocean cannot uproot the rock. You are that rock. Not because of your strength, but because of my stability within you. From this day forward, walk as one who knows. When fear approaches, greet it with memory. Remember every storm that tried to drown you and failed. Remember the nights when you thought you were abandoned, yet somehow light returned with the morning. These memories are not reminders of pain. They are receipts of providence, proof that I was and am, and will always be with you. And when the world tries to measure you by its shallow scales, by success, recognition, perfection, smile gently. You no longer belong to their rhythm. You have entered a higher frequency, one governed not by performance but by presence. You do not need to rush. Divine timing runs on your heartbeat now. What is meant for you will meet you without striving, because it cannot miss one who is aligned. You may still hear echoes of the old voices, those that once whispered, You are behind. You are not enough. You need to prove yourself, but now you will recognize them for what they are, echoes of a system that no longer includes you. You are not behind. You are right on time. You are not lacking. You are layered with potential, waiting to bloom. You do not need to prove. You need only to be. This is the posture of eternal assurance, resting while remaining ready, trusting while taking steps, creating without clinging to outcome. You act because it is in your nature to express what has been placed within you. You love because you overflow, not because you owe. You give because you have become the conduit, not the collector. Soon you will look around and realize that peace has become your constant companion. It will not be the peace of inactivity, but the peace of knowing that everything is working together, even when you cannot see how. It is the peace that allows you to smile in uncertainty, to forgive in injustice, to bless what leaves, and to welcome what arrives without fear. And my beloved, this assurance is not only for you, it is for those who will encounter you. Your calm will calm others. Your faith will ignite faith. Your peace will become permission for others to let go of their striving. You will not need to preach with words. Your very presence will become message enough. You will carry light not because you force it, but because you are it. Even now, unseen ripples move outward from you. The energy of your transformation travels farther than your voice ever could. The world is being quietly shifted by your obedience, your forgiveness, your unseen prayers. And long after this moment, when your eyes have turned from the visible to the eternal, the vibration of your yes will still echo in generations yet unborn. That is the magnitude of what you have agreed to. So rest, my child. You have arrived, not at an ending, but at an unveiling. The path before you will continue to unfold, not in haste, but in harmony. Every step you take will be guided. Every decision will be infused with wisdom, and every breath will carry grace. You are not merely living anymore. You are becoming a living testament that the divine does not abandon, that truth does not fade, that love never fails. You are safe, you are seen, you are sealed. And from this moment forward, let these words become the heartbeat of your being. I am not striving, I am sustained. I am not uncertain, I am guided. I am not alone, I am accompanied. I am not waiting, I am walking. I am not lost, I am home. This is the eternal assurance, the covenant complete, the promise fulfilled. And now, my beloved one, step forward not into fear, but into fullness. For everything that is to come is not outside of you. It is within you, awakening, rising, revealing itself in perfect time. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and you always have been.